Hey guys, the Common Man here. So I'm just going to apologize right up front about my voice. I'm getting over some kind of a cold or something. Something's going around, and it's been hitting my whole family, and I think I'm the last one to get it. But anyway, hopefully that doesn't bother you too much. So what we have here is actually a surprisingly good knife from WE. And I say surprisingly good not because I thought it was going to be a bad knife. That's certainly not the case. I didn't expect it to be as good as it is, honestly. I have really given this a lot of pocket time. This has kind of become one of my nicer occasion knives, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed carrying it and using it. And it's a very, very good performer, honestly. And this particular knife is the WE Navo, and it's a gift that I actually got from my wife. She got me this along with actually it was a Civivi Vision FG, I believe, and I'm very, very grateful to her for those gifts. They were incredible knives, and I still love my Civivi Vision FG. And this one, that one I knew I was gonna love. This one, I was interested in it because it wasn't something I had ever really taken a look at. And when I got it out of the box, it was initially I was surprised how much I liked it, and then again over time, it really, really grew on me. So let's just go ahead and do my kind of normal format. We'll sort of start from the blade and work our way back. Go over the details, and I'll let you know overall what I love, what I don't particularly love. So we'll just get started. So first off, the blade. So it is going to be the typical WE 20CV, which is excellent. It's a great blade steel, holds a nice long edge. It's got that incredible blade grind that they always put on their knives. It just consistently they provide or produce these knives that have these really thin edges. Right behind the edge, it's just so thin, and it is perfect for EDC tasks. It really is a performance blade. And the tip is, although it's not really all that low compared to the center line of the handle, it's a pretty low profile knife, so that tip isn't way up here like in some drop points where they have a real big belly. So this is a very nice performance oriented blade shape, at least I think. I mean, and it's just been great for EDC tasks. And it's got this beautiful finish. It's got kind of like a tumbled black finish, which just looks so good. I've had a few WE knives with this finish, and I really love it. It's probably my favorite. It came extremely sharp, very, very sharp, plenty to get anything done that I needed to. And then it's got this perfect sharpening choil here. Plenty of life left in there for you to go ahead and sharpen it many times before you start getting up into that plunge grind. And this is a full flat grind, which is, that's probably my favorite grind because it gives you lots of performance, gives you plenty of thinness behind the edge for continued sharpening, and it just performs consistently well in these flat grinds. And it's got a nice little chamfer on the edge there with some really nice jimping up here for a few different thumb positions. You can have your thumb back here with a little bit of jimping, and then you've got more right up here to help lock you in. As far as the handle goes, it's got this beautiful black or very dark micarta. It's kind of a canvas micarta. And honestly, usually these kind of designs and cutouts and grooves are not something I really care for when they've got all this angular kind of design to it. But this one honestly works really, really good. Like I said, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it in the pictures because I've seen it before, but when I got it in hand, it grew on me. It really works with this knife. These little cutouts, this little I don't know, gouge that they put, I don't want to say gouge, but this little trough that they put on the handle there, it really, really does a lot for the design characteristics, and I think it just makes it look so good. And then you can see how these flat surfaces, the micarta kind of has this lighter finish, and on these chamfered edges, it sort of has a darker, so it gives it kind of like a two-tone look. It just looks incredible up against that bronze hardware that they put on these. Looks absolutely awesome. And then in the hand, it is super comfortable. I don't know if this groove does a whole lot for the grip necessarily, because this is a pretty big area for your finger, and there is no forward choil here, but it just fits in the hand so nicely. And again, with that jimping, the overall shape, the relatively low profile design of this knife, it really fits in the hand nicely, and it's a perfect size knife where it fills out the hand. It's not big. I'm definitely not going to call this a big knife, but it's just kind of in that sweet spot where you get lots of blade, plenty of handle to hold on to, And, there's kind of one grip position. There's not a whole lot of, like I said, no forward choil, so there's no choking up on it necessarily. And you've got that flipper tab, which sort of stops you there. And then you don't have a whole lot of room left on the back end once you do get your grip, fully engaged on this knife. But it's just right. It feels just right, and it's right where you'd want your hand to be. And you feel like you have lots of control over that very nice, thin, long blade. I really, really am happy with the ergonomics of this. We'll go ahead and talk about the action. It came out of the box just beautiful. Very smooth. It's what you expect from WE. And, WE Knives makes Civivi. They own Civivi knives. So either one of those brands, you're going to get a very good performing knife. And this is no exception. The flipping action is tuned perfect. It's almost fail proof. You really almost cannot fail this knife with that flipper. And it just shoots out, rockets out very quickly, very snappy. And then in the close, very good access to that, to the liner lock. And this is a liner lock. So you just go ahead and drop that down. And it closes. You can see it is absolutely drop shutty, and even when you let go of that liner lock, there's a little bit of friction that it puts up against that blade, but it's still, you just very lightly shake it down and it closes very nicely with a really nice click at the end, which I really enjoy. So something that I'm going to point out about the action that I don't love, it's not a huge deal, but it bit me one time, and so you can see. When you put your thumb here to disengage that lock, you really want that flipper tab to hit your thumb. So that means that when you disengage the lock, you want your thumb up pretty far on that lock bar so that that flipper tab hits you, because otherwise what happens is, you can see, I let it land on my thumbnail, but I did have one time where it didn't land on my thumbnail. It landed right here, and it did actually cut me. So you want to be careful about that. So this knife will bite you if your thumb is not far up on that lock bar. And then the other thing is, there was a tiny little bit of blade stick when I got the knife, but I will say it did work its way out. There is very little blade stick now. It was definitely worse. Still a little bit there, but not terrible. And I do want to add that they do put a lock bar insert, which is, it's always nice to see. I've never had an issue with knives that don't have them, but when it does have them, it's just a nice little added touch, which I really enjoy. So overall, like I said, action is beautiful. The flipping action is just perfect. Just watch out when you disengage that lock. Make sure that flipper tab lands on your thumb, and then there you go. You just send it home. Like I said, this has really become kind of my nicer occasion knife. Not like a suit carry, but if I'm out to dinner, if I'm out doing something with my wife, like a date night, this is usually what's in my pocket, or if I'm going to church, something like that. This is actually taking the place of my WE Cherith, which I was carrying around a lot. And, this is... I loved my Cherith, but honestly, this is just a little bit bigger, fills out the hand a little bit more. So I really think, I wish I had that knife for comparison's sake, so I could put them up side to side, but I don't anymore. I did get rid of that knife. But if you've had the WE Cherith, just know that this is going to be a hair bigger, and honestly, I think it's a really good thing. Another thing I want to point out, pocket clip. This is a titanium pocket clip. It is not deep carry, but it is deep enough. You have about this much knife hanging out of the pocket, which, it's not great, but it's good. It's deep enough, and I'm plenty happy with it. I have no problem with that. Let's go ahead and do a size comparison real quick. We'll do it up against some knives that are sort of the typical size comparison knives that you see on all the channels. We're going to go ahead and hold on. There we go. We're going to go ahead and compare it up against the Spyderco Para 3, still probably my favorite EDC knife of all time, and then probably the runner-up, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I do have the camera at somewhat of an angle, but you can still see the size here. Doesn't seem to be distorting it too bad. So the WE Navo is honestly very, very close to the Spyderco Para 3. A little bit longer in the blade. You can see you might get maybe another 1/4 inch in the cutting edge or so. And then, so actually cutting edge is very similar to the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, but you can see it's about, I would say, about an inch shorter. And again, that's just an estimate, but you can see size-wise, it's sort of in between the two of them. We'll go ahead and do the CJRB Pyrite. This is my premium Pyrite, so it is a little bit longer than the Pyrite, and honestly, I like it a little bit more. I think the action's a little bit nicer. Even though this is a button lock, it's a little bit different. I do like this a little bit better than my premium Pyrite. All in all, guys, I really, really enjoy this knife. Like I said, it honestly surprised me how much I love it. It's a WE knife, so I knew it was going to be good. I just wasn't sure about the design, and it really proved itself to me as being a great all around EDC, and maybe even a little bit nicer occasion folder. And it's blown me away. I'm super impressed. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I would definitely recommend you pick up one of these knives if you get an opportunity to buy one. And if you want to see more of my knife and EDC content, please consider subscribing. I greatly appreciate it.